Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. My name is Jen and I would love to have you as a subscriber, so hit the red subscribe button down below and you won't miss any of my videos, which I upload 4 times a week. Today I wanted to talk to you about my experience with the autoimmune protocol now that it's been 2 years and a couple of weeks since I began it. Just a little bit of a backstory if you're new here and you don't know my history. I was diagnosed in 2013 with an autoimmune disease called Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which you can probably tell from the name is an autoimmune disease that affects the thyroid. This was caused by severe adrenal fatigue, and I have a video on that which I will link here, and you can see what my story is, how that happened and how I overcame it. But suffice to say, I was left with this autoimmune disease which is now going to affect me for the rest of my life. And for me, it wasn't good enough to just go to the doctor and start taking a synthetic hormone to replace the thyroid hormones that my own thyroid is no longer producing. That to me didn't really address the problem, it was addressing the symptom. The problem was not my thyroid, that was the symptom. The autoimmune disease was attacking my thyroid. The problem was the autoimmune disease, and your immunity starts in your gut. So to me, it didn't make sense to just treat the symptom. It made sense to address the problem and try to heal that as much as I can. Now, once you have an autoimmune disease, you have it for life. The same way that I've had chickenpox, I now have chickenpox antibodies in my body. So if I am exposed to chickenpox, my body can fight that off. The same thing happens. I now have thyroid antibodies in my body. And if my immune system is triggered or boosted, it will begin to attack my thyroid. So to me, I just wanted to gain as much whole body healing as possible rather than just throwing a hormone at my thyroid. So I began working with a holistic doctor. She is a licensed medical professional, but she treats as holistically as possible. And together with her, I managed to find a medication regime that works for me. And the dose that we have arrived on after much trial and error and much time, specifically for my thyroid, is 150 milligrams of bioidentical thyroid extract once a day and 10 micrograms of bioidentical T3 twice a day. That is what works best for my thyroid health. But that wasn't enough. I wanted, like I said, to gain total healing as much as possible, and so 2 years ago I decided to try the autoimmune protocol. Now, this is a variation of the paleo diet. It's basically paleo minus anything that might bring you joy. It is very, very strict. It is an elimination diet that aims to eliminate any foods that you may be reacting badly to or allergic to or sensitive to, or that might be causing inflammation in your body. It's to calm and heal any inflammation in your body, and it's to heal your gut, which is where your immunity starts. So that's why I decided I was just going to give this a shot, because I was eating pretty well, a healthy diet, and I was exercising every day, and I was, you know, on my way to finding the right dose of medication, but I still had symptoms and I still felt like I was dealing with this autoimmune disease. So I thought, let me just try the AIP and give it a go and do it properly and see if that can help me. And it has been a complete life changer. It has changed my health for the better dramatically. Like, I read everywhere on the internet when I was researching AIP that, you know, it'll put you into full remission, and I was just like, well, if I'm more well than I am now, that would be great, but full remission sounds like a fairy tale. That sounds too good to be true. But I feel like it put me into full remission. I say that hesitantly because at the moment I'm busy dealing with the worst flare I've had in probably over 2 years, and I think it was caused by paint fumes when I was painting my son's window frames, but I don't know. I've been down and out for like 2 weeks now. That's just life with an autoimmune disease. You never know what's going to trigger it, or you can just become ill. But overall, over the last 2 years, my health has been improving and improving and improving to the point where I felt like I'd achieved remission. I felt like I wasn't dealing with Hashimoto's all the time. So I would highly recommend it from my own experience. So rewind to 2 years ago, 1st of March 2015, I decided I'm going to try this diet. And I printed out the list of foods that I could eat, and I just dove in. I do have a video on tips and tricks for AIP, and I'll link it here. So you can see some of the things that have really helped me. And yeah, I decided to just go for it and do it properly. Like, go hard out and do it properly, and if it didn't work, then I knew I'd given it a proper shot. It was so hard. It was so hard, obviously, in a practical sense of having to remember what I could and couldn't eat and cook differently, but it was also really hard emotionally. There's almost, I know this sounds dramatic, but there's almost like a grieving process that happens. It's a loss, and there's like emotional fallout from that, and it was really hard to accept. I kind of instinctively knew it wasn't a temporary thing. I wasn't just gonna try it. Like, I knew if it didn't work, I was still going to be struggling with symptoms the rest of my life, and that was hard to accept. And if it did work, this is how I was going to have to eat, and that was hard to accept. So the kind of emotional side took me by surprise, but it was really hard. It was really hard for months. Now it's a habit. It's just how I eat. Yes, occasionally I get upset. Well, not upset, but I'll be like, you know, I can never eat a donut again in the rest of my life. Or, you know, things that other people are eating and enjoying around me, it will kind of sink in all over again. Like, I can never eat that again for the rest of my life, and it's really sad, and I feel sorry for myself for a minute. But if this is what I have to do to be as healthy as possible, then that's what I will do, because I have fought so long and hard for good health that is really, really valuable to me, and I want to protect it. Now, as much as it was really hard to start, it does get easier. I stuck it out for, I think, at least 6 months before I tried to reintroduce any foods. I want to say it was closer to a year before I was serious about reintroduction. I didn't want to risk having a bad reaction to food and then thinking, oh, I can't eat that, when if I'd just given it more time and allowed my body more healing, I might have been able to tolerate that food. So I thought I would just go hard out and give it as much time as possible before I tried to reintroduce anything. And I have since been able to reintroduce spices. I really miss that, like curry or chilies or any kind of spices, because the food is so limited and bland and repetitive. So reintroducing spices was great. I was able to reintroduce tomatoes, but only if they are organic tomatoes. Apparently there's something in like tin chopped tomatoes that doesn't agree with me, or yeah, so I grow my own tomatoes in the summer and I buy organic tin chopped tomatoes. Butter I tolerate, eggs is fine, nuts are fine but not peanuts. I can eat Greek yogurt. I had read somewhere that if you can't tolerate dairy, you might be able to tolerate Greek yogurt because of the beneficial bacteria cultures in it, and that has been true for me. I can eat Greek yogurt. And rice, I know rice isn't on the paleo diet. I'm not like trying to follow any particular diet. I'm trying to follow the listen to your body diet, and rice has been fine for me. I actually did a bunch of food checks with my energy kinesiologist just to double check what is and isn't okay, and rice came up as not particularly beneficial. It wasn't really adding anything to my diet, but it's not detrimental either, it's neutral. And the reason I chose to reintroduce rice is because it just gives me so many more options. If we're out and about and I need to grab food somewhere, I can grab sushi. Whereas before, the only thing I could really get was like a salad somewhere, and that's not particularly filling. I can also eat plain, like completely plain rice crackers. I can eat rice porridge, like baby rice porridge, and use that as a thickener in sauces and things. And obviously just the rice, like to eat curry and rice or risotto, it kind of gives me more options. So that's why I chose to reintroduce rice. I don't need any other grains though at all. And I've also been able to reintroduce red lentils. So that was a relief to have a pantry stable source of protein other than tuna. Because, you know, when you're doing autoimmune protocol, it's like meat, chicken, fish, vegetables, and that's it. And it's really hard when you have to cook your food every time. So although you do have to cook lentils, it's not something I have to like get out of the freezer and defrost and cook like meat. It's just another option that is more convenient for me. So the things that I can't eat are grains, soy, sugar, honey, any kind of sweetener, agave, stevia, nothing. The only kind of sweetener I can eat is pure maple syrup. I can't eat peanuts, corn, potatoes, capsicums, bananas, dairy, other than the Greek yogurt, and gluten. The protein in gluten is apparently almost identical to the protein in your thyroid. So if you have Hashimoto's and you eat gluten, your body goes, oh hey, this is a bad thing, and then it sets off an autoimmune reaction to kind of go and kill that and will attack your thyroid at the same time. So if you have an autoimmune disease at all, but especially Hashimoto's, you want to avoid gluten. I do have a few videos on my channel showing what I eat in a day, so if you're curious to what kinds of things I eat, I will link those. But basically, I just kind of eat the same thing all day. There's no like breakfast foods and lunch foods and dinner foods. I will usually have leftovers from dinner the night before for breakfast and lunch. Saves me cooking again. I deliberately will cook extra. And my diet is very plain and very limited. I have been able to experiment with a few recipes and try different things, but it's kind of boring for the most part. Eating out is tricky, although when I figured out I could eat tomatoes and spices and Greek yogurt, I experimented with chicken tikka masala and found that I can eat that. And so that's what I'll get as a takeaway, or if we are going out for dinner, we'll go to an Indian restaurant and that's what I'll eat. So it just gives me another option to be able to eat out. But on the whole, yeah, eating out is tricky. I can go to a restaurant that does like a plain steak and, you know, steak and chips and salad or whatever, and just switch out the chips for something else, for more salad or vegetables. So I can do that, but it's pretty much the same food I eat at home, so it's not like a huge treat or anything, except I don't have to cook. When I go and visit friends, or if we go traveling, I just take all my own food. We went to a friend's house for dinner the other night, and I just took my own food with me because I didn't want her to have to stress about what to cook. Like, it's hard for someone who's not used to this diet to know what is and isn't safe. And even when my hostesses like try their hardest, they don't know all the things that I can and can't eat. So sometimes they'll like use a spice blend on it, not knowing it has gluten in, or, you know, just not know or not think about these things. So I just find it easier to take food with me. My friend Jess is really considerate, and she always tries to cater to me because we have dinner with them once a week pretty much, like either at their house or our house. So if she's cooking, she'll make sure to like put some of the meat separately without the sauce or something, so she knows that I can eat it. So that's really thoughtful of her, but I don't expect that of my hostesses. I don't expect people to cater to my diet because it's so like weird and restrictive. So I just take food with me, and that just makes it easier. Packing a lunch to go out somewhere for the day can be tricky. I'll just pack a salad. Obviously, you know, I can't cook anything or heat anything up, so I'll do a salad with like chicken in or some kind of meat in it just for a bit of protein, or I will do like boiled eggs. I can eat sweet potato chips and parsnip chips, like crisps, so that's something to grab on the go, and nuts as well. So, you know, I just have to plan ahead and be organized so that I can take stuff with me, because, you know, if we're out and about all day and we end up taking longer than we had anticipated, I can't just pop to the nearest takeaway place and just get some food. It's like at KFC, there's literally nothing I can eat. At McDonald's, the only thing I could eat is a salad, and who wants to pay McDonald's prices for a salad that is like basically iceberg lettuce and a couple of pieces of tomato? It's not very filling either. So it's just easier to make sure that I always have snacks with me, and those are the kind of snacks I'll pack. Doing AIP has been a life changer. Like, it's literally changed my life. It's afforded me so much more health than I had before. It has been so worth doing, and it hasn't been the complete prison sentence that it felt when I began it, because I've been able to reintroduce things to just add a bit more variety and options into my diet. But this is how I eat now. It's really limited. It's basically meat, chicken, fish, vegetables, excluding the ones I mentioned like potatoes and corn, sweet potato. The only carbs I eat is sweet potato and rice. That's pretty much it. And then fruit. I have one portion of fruit a day, which is kind of like an AIP rule when you're starting out, just for gut healing, and I've just kind of stuck to that. So like I said, I'll link down below some of the videos of what I eat in a day, so you can see the kind of things that I fit into my diet. And I will just say, if you are thinking about trying AIP, go for it. What have you got to lose? And think about what you have to gain. It has been so worth it. I would highly recommend at least giving it a go. Not necessarily even if you have an autoimmune disease, but if you suspect there's something in your diet that's holding you back or not really agreeing with you, or you just want to achieve, your best health. Give it a go and then try reintroduce your foods, and you'll know if they sit well with you or not. Once you have stopped eating that food that was holding you back and given your body a proper break from it and allowed some healing, when you try and reintroduce it, you will know. I promise you will know. I tried a piece of cheese that was maybe half a teaspoon size, and within half an hour I felt like I had been drugged. It was like this fog came over me. I felt depressed, emotional, I felt angry. I had a migraine for the next 2 days. I felt awful. There was no mistaking cheese, no. And if you ask me what is the #1 food out of everything that I've had to give up that I miss the most, it would be cheese. I have reintroduced goat's cheese. I didn't mention that. I do eat goat's cheese, but lately I've kind of been feeling like it might be disagreeing with me. And it's funny because when I was at my kinesiologist asking her to check various foods, because when I was at her like having a regular session, it came up that there was something in my diet that wasn't agreeing with me, and it was mayonnaise, and it was because of the sugar in mayonnaise. So now I make my own mayonnaise, which is a whole nother video for another day. But when I was getting her to check and like run through different foods just to check my body's response, I knew, like I instinctively knew what the answers would be. Like I hadn't reintroduced beans yet, but I had instinctively thought, I don't know if this is a good idea. And when she checked beans, my body was like, no, don't want the beans. But there were other things that I thought I would be able to reintroduce and would be fine, like red lentils, and that came up as fine, and I was since able to eat them. So if you are allowing your body healing and you've overcome any addictions and cravings and got away from the foods that you are reacting badly to, which funnily enough can be the foods that you crave, when you're past all of that, you can just listen to your body and it will tell you, and it will be so easy to know what you can and can't eat, and that's really, really valuable. So I'm rambling on for ages. Bottom line, it's a great thing to do. I highly recommend it. It's worth a go, and it has achieved me more health than I had expected. So really, really valuable. So I hope this was helpful. I hope that if you are considering this, that you are successful and able to stick to it. Check out my video on tips and tricks. It's hopefully something that can help you if you are going to embark on the AIP journey, and I really hope it helps you as much as it has helped me. If you have any questions, leave them down below and I'll try to answer them as soon as I can. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.